This podcast series was recorded with our colleague Cameron Cunningham, who at the time was the Addictions and Recovery Program Coordinator at NBA. Although he no longer works with us, we still believe strongly in the content we created, and we hope you enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Holy Scrolls, where faith meets tech. I am Bere Gil Soto.
And I'm Cameron Cunningham, and we are so glad that you are here for this conversation today about social media, young adults, and especially the ways technology shape our mental health, relationships, and even our spiritual lives.
Today, we're diving into setting intentional boundaries, limits to rediscover our identity offline.
Yes, we're in for a wonderful conversation today. And this podcast is a collaboration between NBA's Addiction and Recovery Initiative and the Young Adult Leadership Development Program as well.
And with no further ado, let's just dive into it. Let's just
Yes.
dive into this last episode of the inaugural season of Holy Scrolls. And let's just get to it. Cameron, we've heard wonderful guests throughout this season. We've got so many nuggets. I've had to rewind and listen back
Yes.
again to some of these things. And I think that a lot of what I'm pondering on for our young adults and honestly just people in general, but linking this age-wise young adults and addiction. I've been wondering how does constant connectivity affect mental health? And let me preface this as someone who is raising a beautiful human being and that I've discovered myself that I get overstimulated. And at the end of the day, I realize, thank God for therapy. With my own therapy, I realize that it's not that I am um like going through a depressive state or even an anxiety season, but it's more so that my cup is empty because my body and my mind and like my attention, I'm always overstimulated by my kid who wants all the attention and who wants to be on top of me and play with me. And so then at the end, I realized like I have nothing, right? And so as we think about, I'm trying to create that parallel of being overstimulated physically, and if there is anything that you and I maybe want to bring up about a parallel about us digital life and being overstimulated,
Mm.
do you think that there is anything that affects our mental health, our life, even our spiritual life of that constant connectivity that we're always on?
Yes, no, that's beautiful. I'm just thinking, and I know we spoke a lot during this series about staying connected, and the power
Mhm.
of connection. But to your point about constant connection, I think it's important to make the clear distinction that constant connection isn't the same thing as healthy connection.
Ooh, that's another
So,
nugget, everybody. That's another nugget. Say it again. Say it again.
yes, constant connection it isn't the same thing as healthy connection. They're not always synonymous to each other. I mean, let's if it's okay, let's start with the big picture. So when we think about constant connectivity, it's engaging our nervous system. And when we're online, digitally, physically, our nervous system is online.
Yeah.
And then specifically when we think about technology, when we're always reachable, when we're always consuming our brains, we talk about mental health, our brains never really get a chance to fully just recharge and rest.
Yeah.
So it flings us into this consistent place of low level alert, stress, anxiety, because it's
Mhm.
this constant stimulation of I'm connected, I have trouble sleeping, and I'm up
Yeah, that's
scrolling even when
melatonin,
I'm
right?
tired.
Yeah, yeah, which is crazy, right? That whole
Yes.
doom scrolling, which we should have, maybe that's for season two, but the doom
Yes,
scrolling,
yes,
right, that a lot of us do at night or when we're just on the couch or whatever.
yes,
It really does something to our mental health. You're so right, and I'm still digesting this whole quote that you said that constant connection does not mean healthy connection.
yes,
And I
yes,
think that maybe another part of also what the ways in which this affects us, I think it is also the stamina and the bandwidth and maybe even the tolerance. I'd say, yeah, to frustration tolerance, right?
mm,
Um, I think that I mentioned in another episode. I think it was last episode, that I was like, I'm becoming my mom and just saying all these things that my mom says. But like, just this idea, right? That my mom has said, you all are that she was the slow cooker generation, then my
yes.
generation is the microwave generation, and I think that now this Gen Z's might be the Instapot,
The air fryer
air
generation.
fryer
Yes, yes.
generation, right? And so everything is like always going faster and faster and faster, and I think that that's affecting the our tolerance and our patience. If i'm I'm not pastoring right now, but I'm just wondering how much of social media and the rapidness and the quickness of things is affecting people's attention span, that
Yes.
they are not even able to stay focused on a sermon or on in class, at a lecture. Um, it really is doing a lot without us realizing, and I think it's doing way more than we are willing to accept.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah. Yeah, it's doing way more for sure. And one of the things I think that as part of also that lower attention is, I guess that maybe sometimes that turns into our in-person connection being very shallow. We don't even
yes.
know how to interact now with each other because we're used to receive updates about people because of their social media posts.
Hmm.
And we don't even know how to. I think that Whitney was mentioning that. Maybe I have it so fresh, but when she was talking about dating, right? Like we don't know how to ask the deep questions beyond just what you've been up to.
Yes,
And I think that that's you've had that experience. I know that on a personal level, you've shared with me that you've done recently or are still doing a digital detox, right?
yes,
And that you don't know a lot, and it requires intentionality on your end to be updated about your friends' lives,
yes.
right?
Yeah, it really does. It's been around 6, almost 7 months now,
Oh,
since I went offline. And I know we talked about the difficulties of just like cold turkey quitting. But I did that, and I think we'll discuss some of those parts in our conversation today. But yeah, I recognize that to your point about constant connection, um, I'm recognizing through this detox that connection itself was never the problem. Like it can
mm,
be healthy, but
yeah.
but the issue was I felt it was like this unbroken connection where it's just like ultra
Oh, say more.
exposure to everything in everyone's life. So I'm like, I just see everything that's going on at every place, every phase. And I'm one that who use social media like a digital archive. So I'm like, I contribute to sharing so I can always track different things.
Right. Yeah.
But I felt that I needed pause. I needed
Mm.
rhythm. And just being consistently plugged in, I wasn't getting that anymore. That was, yeah, emotionally.
Yeah, I think this is perfect for us to then start talking about something that you and I discussed that maybe we want to address about what are the signs. This has been a series, and we hope that this series has been um, insightful, challenging, fun.
Yes.
So in all of that, it's also, we hope that it's been quoting you back too. It's been inspirational in a way, right? So maybe let's do some self-reflecting, some of us, and let's start talking about what might be some signs that
Mm.
if we start going about them, that we can say, oh, maybe I should try digital detox. So for you, what were some signs that you said, let me do that? And also, do you do a cold turkey detox, or do you just like reduce time or reduce certain apps? Like what's it been like for you?
Yes. Thank you. That I mean, this is good. And I'll start by naming this. For me, I'm gonna actually call it digital burnout. So I felt like I was at a place of
Wow.
like digital burnout, and the irony is, it really wasn't loudly announced. I know what I was
Mhm.
feeling, but it was very subtle, like, and
You
it
didn't
showed
make a
up.
post and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave," and everybody leaving your no.
Yes, yes, yes. But I began to really see the patterns, like the patterns in my life. So
Ah,
I then began to having an iPhone, and on Sunday morning, you're going to get your report about your screen time,
that's
and
right.
really, reviewing and see, wow, I'm on my phone more than I realize.
Yeah.
At any given point that I had any spare time, um, nothing even be interesting. I'm scrolling. And then this is the most living in a metro city like Atlanta, where I would just look over at people at the light and they're like scrolling online. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're in cars.
Yes, like
Um,
a Black Mirror episode, right? That
yes.
everybody was just.
So I had to move. And then I will say this, and this is just, the modern touch to all of our lives and the unfolding of, the helpfulness of like ChatGPT and AI as well. And I was speaking to some friends of mine, and we're like, everything that was once so helpful about social media is just now like habitual. We just do it. So it's just this is what we do. So if I have to question, before I even think to call somebody or act, let me just it's now habitual. So for me, I recognize, sometimes I may feel worse after a whole day of just being plugged in than I did when I woke up for the day. So that was a sign for me. That was sign, those were some of the signs for me. And it was just for me, I'm like, I have to figure out a way to make sure that the first thing I touch in the morning is not my phone, and the last thing that's in my hand is not my phone as well.
Ooh, that's good, Cameron. That's good. Yeah, the first thing and the last thing is not my phone. And
Yes.
and that's surreal. Yeah, yeah. And I really appreciate the framework that you use, the language, because it's strong and I think it is real to name it a digital burnout.
Hmm.
And yeah, just I think that a sign would be, that as hearing you would be that sort of dependency that we have to always be on our phone, and to be watching or
Yes.
doing like something, right, that just as you said might be mindless, might be irrelevant, but we feel
Yes.
like we have to. uh I'll out myself.
Okay. It's
um
an honest
be-
space.
yes, this is an honest and safe place. This is like that gym that says it's a judgment free zone, right? So I've realized before, um that I was like, oh, I probably need to start doing some detox. And I started. So I didn't do cold turkey like you. Props to
Okay.
you. I'm like, I don't think I could do it. But then I started decreasing my access to it. And one of the signs was that my wrist hurt.
Mm.
My wrist hurt, and it was like popping
Wow.
because of the. It's not a natural, because if your hand is moved. And so if we're doing this, and my hand, my wrist hurt here, and my thumb, which is, doing this, our hand is not meant to be doing this constantly. And so Yeah, when one morning I just woke up and I was like, oh shoot, like my hand feels, it hurts. Like, did I eat sweets?
Yes.
And so then I started realizing that on the one hand, social media and doom scrolling was a good escape for me as just not long ago as a young mother or early first time mother. I don't know if young, but first time mother. And I am bound to my kid, and if I was breastfeeding, so well, he's latched and he is just doing what he needs to, or simply just wants to be on top of me, and I'll just put my AirPods and I can't do anything, right? Because the baby is sleeping on me, and so
Yes.
let me just scroll. I could have taken a book, but I was doing that. So,
But I,
yeah, a sign that maybe some of you let me know if anybody else or if I'm just alone on this load.
but I think you named something. I think you name, the difficulty. I think you really help, and I think this is great. At the last episode of this season to really name, some of the difficulties around unplugging from social media. And what I hear from you is, and we've all named this pretty much throughout the series, the boredom, the stress, the loneliness, the uncertainty. Social media is a resource of regulation, entertainment for us in a way. And when you put the phone down, it's almost like those feelings don't disappear, they actually get louder.
Oh yes, 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 yes. No, definitely, and we're so used to it. Another sign also that I realized, just as you said, and I think I mentioned it before. I realized, oh wow, every time that I sit somewhere, or if I arrive to the doctor's office, or if I get to my car dealer for the service that they need to, whatever, right? Every time that I arrive somewhere and I have to wait, the first thing I do is to reach for my phone and open any social media app. And I realized, like, wow, what would I have done before if I didn't have a smartphone, right? Like, or what did I used to do before smartphones? Maybe for Gen Zs, that's like, I don't know about that because you all grew up already. Like, you're born in
Yes.
us again. Dang it. Call me
Yes,
my
yes,
mom,
yes.
but you all are born now with a chip. And so, like,
Yeah, but even as kids, I think you take us back to something and you show us that it's not about willpower. It really is, about learning how to sit with this quiet, with the silence again.
yeah.
And that's
And
a
the sense
skill
of
that,
wonder, now
yes.
again, like nurturing my child and raising my child, something that I've been really mindful, and I know I'm going to mess up in one way or another. And one of the things that I'm trying to be really mindful along with my husband is letting our child to be bored,
Mm,
not giving him all the toys, not giving him all the screen time. Like, it's okay to be bored. Why? Because that creates that sense of wonder and creativity that it's spirit given to all of us. Because if we are made in the image of God, the very first thing that we see God doing in scripture and our sacred text is God being creative and God being, I don't know if God was bored, but taking time and saying,
mm.
now what should I do next?
Wow.
And God being God, a lot of people would say, like, oh, God could have done it all, but could he?
Mm.
Or is it okay for God to take time? Is it okay for God to not do everything like quickly, and instead of doing it on 7 days, doing it all at once? Like, what's
Wow.
wrong with that?
That's a word.
I know, right? Then I'll have to rewind this one too.
Yes, yes, gotta rewind.
So yeah, I think that goes along with these signs speak, just as you said, of how hard it is, and that's okay. I think that this episode, especially as being the last one, we hope that you do not leave from this place feeling shame. I hope
Yes.
that if either one of us, you are in the struggle bus like I am, and like Cameron was before he did the detox, um, that you know that you're not alone and that this is
Mhm.
completely normal because we all are human beings living into a digital world that
Yes.
we were actually not designed for. So we're adapting to it,
Yes.
right? Right. So that's okay. So for just so that we know, if we didn't make it clear, it's okay. It's okay if you're struggling. And
Yes.
as we take a breath and you're like, okay, I hope that, take some time to realize and feel affirmed that if you're struggling, you're not alone. And as you take that breath, um, let's just pause for a minute. And as we come back, because I would love for us to talk about the importance of boundaries then and limits as we come back. So let's just pause for a minute and let's hear what's happening in the life of NBA, our programs, grants. Pay attention and learn how you can continue engaging with us. We will be back. Please don't leave us.
Yes.
Mission and Ministry application window is still open through March 25th. These funds support organizational and congregational projects that serve older adults aged 50 and plus, or focus on educating at-risk youth and young adults between 10 and 25 years old. For more information and frequently asked questions about this grant, visit nbacares.org/mm-grants. On March 26th, MBA's community engagement team presents a webinar called From Montgomery to Minneapolis, Organizing in Times of Disruption. For more information about this webinar and to register, visit nbacares.org/events. NBA is celebrating 10 years of peer learning and wellness groups with multiple events later this year, including a virtual 10-year anniversary celebration on April 14th. We invite you to celebrate with us this life-giving journey that has touched hundreds of people. Stay tuned for more information and learn more about this and all of our events at nbacares.org/events. Well, we're back and we're back feeling affirmed, knowing that it's fine to struggle. It's a human thing, actually, it's just to
Yes.
struggle. It's natural to
Yes.
struggle.
Yes.
And it is such a beautiful opportunity for us to grow and learn when we struggle. I want to get preachy again, right? But going back to the original with the scripture, the Genesis first, Genesis 1, we read that in the midst of chaos, the Spirit was moving. So even in the midst of our struggle, even in the midst of our chaos that we feel about our digital life, the Spirit is moving. And that scripture helped us. I think that is a good framework to talk about boundaries. Because I was mentioning, God even saying, let me take time. Let me digest. Let me see and ponder what's next. And that's a beautiful boundary. And so speaking of boundaries, what do you and I what do we want to say to the audience, Cameron, about what benefits come from setting boundaries online? You talked about the awareness that comes from the report that iPhones, I don't know if Androids do that, no shade, but I don't know much about Androids, right? So I don't know if Androids do that.
Still praying for you.
Um, Team iPhone, but
Yes.
we received that Sunday review that tells us, hey, this is what you're doing. Some of us, like, that's some of the boundaries that I've put, some of the limits, limiting the time that I use a day and respecting it. Because we can set the boundary, but then we're like, let me just waive it and keep using it. So, from your perspective, Cameron, what do you think? What benefits can come from setting boundaries online?
Yeah. No. Boundaries, they get a bad reputation, I believe. They do, and you named
They
it because I
do.
I think, it's such a negative connotation of like, oh, boundary takes away a particular freedom. But What I've learned and what I felt on this digital detox, this journey that I'm on is the boundaries in no way with social media or online took anything away from me. I'm actually focused on what it gave me back.
Okay.
So it's almost like this relief. It's like I have this relief now, and there are even small boundaries. So I remember when before I just went dark online. I do remember when I would limit my hours of this. So this is a small digital boundary, and I would
Yeah.
notice when I cut my screen time off at 9 o'clock and just spent the rest of the evening, I mean, excuse 8 o'clock, and just really wind down for the rest of the evening, I slept better.
Oh,
I,
definitely. Yeah. And there are
yes.
even studies. Who knew? Who
Yes, yes,
knew?
yes. Yes, I did. When it's time, I love sit. I'm an outside person. I feel like God speaks to me when I just am in nature, when I'm out, and sometimes it's
Yes.
just sitting outside on my porch. And I recognize when I have that time to just really decompress and be, without my phone, I have a relief. I have less emotional reactivity. That's one thing that I
Yeah.
noticed about myself. So yeah, the boundaries, it really helped me to sleep better, to feel less rushed in my life. And that we've already talked about the comparison and all that. So I feel less rushed in my life. And then I feel present with my people as well. So I love to host at times. I love to be present. And I think that that's one thing that I was struggling with because I can be on my phone doing this and you can be talking to me and I'm like, yeah, yes. Yeah. And then
Or, or and I've done that too. Like I go meet with a friend or whatever, and then I pull out my phone. Oh, but I'm being so mindful that I'm putting the screen down, right?
down.
Like I'm respecting. Girl, put that phone out. Like, why are you putting the phone down? Put it away. Like,
Yes, yes,
it's still a
yes.
block, I think.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's a major boundary. That has been a benefit to just really be connected to my people and to be present with them. So yeah, those are some ways. And again, I think it's offered me a level of clarity that I just didn't
Mhm.
have before. And I think that I am one person that will remerge, wake up my visual footprints in the time soon, in the near future. But
Okay.
in this time, I have got a level of clarity that has again not really focused on what was taken but what I was able to really regain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, and I think that hearing you, one of the beautiful things that come out from setting boundaries in life, but in this case online, especially on a digital space, I think it's getting the sense of control, getting back the sense of control of our life. Um, it sounds silly, I think, perhaps to some, but honestly, we just don't realize how much control we're giving to the digital world over our life.
Yes.
And I think that it's just, you know, maybe I'll turn this into a sermon series of sorts, right? Because then again, in Genesis, we get
Yes.
God giving the control over things to humans and not humans being controlled by the things, right? God says, now you have the authority and the power to name things. You are the one who's going to be giving name to things. Um, and I think that we lose that when we're just so immersed into this digital life that, as you said, we've mentioned it in other episodes, the comparison trap, the dating, the authenticity, then we stop being ourselves and the control is handed over to our social media. And so we are not demonizing social media life, we're not demonizing digital life, we're just saying
Yes.
if it gets too much, anything. And that's
Yes.
something I learned from my dad. I remember hearing him say any excess, anything in excess can become an addiction. It's an
Yes.
addiction.
Yes.
And so just be mindful that if you feel that it's been too much, if you feel that it's getting out of hand, that's okay. That's normal. I'm glad that you're starting to see some signs, right? That say, well, maybe I should take some time. Maybe I should start lowering my screen time. Um, But yeah, I think that the boundaries and not only give us a sense of control, but I also, going back to what you were saying, and maybe we can tackle a little bit about the identity, right? It helps us differentiate.
Mm,
So think about boundaries like the property lines in houses, or even invisible geographical borders, right? We sometimes we don't see them, but we know that they are there, and it helps us know where Illinois begins and where Indiana ends. And I think that it helps us differentiate ourselves from others, from the expectations, from all those things. Um, and and yeah, we definitely can rediscover ourselves. I think that there's beauty. Being a preacher, I cannot help but think, right? The story of Elijah when he is pretty much depressed and most likely having a panic attack. Uh, and he just runs away, and he's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this, God. And God takes time and nurtures him and gives him food, lets him rest, and then gives him back his identity. I think that we definitely can
mm.
rediscover our identity. Your
Yeah.
thoughts?
No, this is important. As a person that pastored my first church at 26 years old
Yeah.
and was multi-vocational, so working multiple jobs while pastoring as well, and building, by the Spirit of God, a ministry in a city that I'm not from.
Yeah.
My identity really got intertwined with what was shared online.
Wow. Yeah.
I created to share online.
Mm.
I posted to build a particular digital footprint online. So my identity became the ministry. It became, this person that I was online. So I'll say this, and I'll just speak from my experience of now being offline for a season. Um, my step back has not only been from just likes, views, and comments, but it has really been a season where silence has been unfamiliar, if you will.
Mm.
Um, and for me, I have rediscovered my identity because I like to go walking in my neighborhood. A few laps is 3 miles. And I go walking now without my headphones. So I
Oh,
really
yes.
have just the
Yeah.
clarity of creative thought.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I create
It's you
now.
and your thoughts.
Yes, just me and my thoughts. I create now not with posting in mind. As someone who's an innovator, who's a creator, posting is not in mind, has not been in mind when my
Mm.
mind is just, in that flow. And then I'll say this as well, resting without guilt. So as we said in early episodes, um, comparison is the biggest thief to joy.
Yeah.
And you almost guilt yourself as a faith leader for stepping away at times and taking a break. So my identity now in this season of being offline is I'm resting without guilt. And
Hello.
it's not just me becoming, someone new. I'm beginning to hear myself again. I'm beginning to really hear the echoes of my heart, of my spirit again. So yeah, it's been the places where my clarity has started. And I will say, yeah, my identity has walked through that doorway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it because um, we're humans, and I think that sometimes without recognizing it, we're turning into the machines that we are attached to. So we're turning into machines, into like doing and productivity, and then that translates into in our work life and every other, like every aspect of our life, to be um about always doing something, because there's always, just like I think that Alec mentioned that, and I'm like, oh my God, I hadn't even thought about that on the episode that we had with him, that said initially the feed had to stop,
Yes.
but then they realized, ooh, people want more. And so now the feed is never ending. And so there's always something, more and more. And I think that that translates to the uneasiness of being idle, of just being, as you were saying, of just being in silence, or just being resting. If it is hard, anyways, culturally, for Black and Brown people of color living, especially in the United States,
Yes.
uh, it, it it adds another layer,
Yes.
because then it goes to our psyche, and it's like, something needs to be happening, like, I need to be doing something. And
Yes.
oh no, it's okay, just rest, just lay on the couch and don't even turn the TV off, like, just
Yes.
close your eyes or go take that walk. And part of that, I think, is just being learning while we're still using social media, or if you detox. But I think that a huge thing for me that I'm getting out of this season, these episodes, is learning to be with myself.
Mm.
And that's like just learning the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of it about myself, that has nothing to do with the online world. That, just you said, you're a creative self, you're an artist, you create things, um, to do that because of art,
Yes.
not because of the likes, or to
Yes.
see what's Cameron doing.
Yes, it's who you are. It's who you are. I think, this is beautiful. I while I was in seminary at Emory, I had a professor who actually was a student of Howard Thurman, and he tells a story about when he goes to pick Howard Thurman up from the airport
Oh,
to preach at Marsh Chapel in Boston. And he shares that only one statement was mentioned the entire car ride, and then all voices fell silent. And of
oh,
course, we're a student, we're like, so what was it that was asked? And he said, Howard Thurman asked him one question, who are you? And he said he had never taken time to sit with that question, so he couldn't respond.
wow,
And he went years and years and years trying to discover who am I, and so I think that that's what you named, just that
yeah,
space,
yeah,
that not punishment, but reorientation when needed,
come
to
on,
really just
yeah.
be able to create that space to remember that your worth is not tied to what's visibly shown or even output, but it's what's in you. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
powerful.
and that's wow. That's even, you're more the expert on that, on even from the addictions perspective, right? Like, you still have worth, even if you've struggled with something, with some substance, or in this case
Yes,
with social media addiction. It's okay. You just still have worth. You still are yourself, and you're just
yes,
rediscovering the new version of ourselves, or the version that has been buried under all those layers of activity that distract us from who we are. Wow, wow. There's just so much that we could do and say about this
yes,
topic. And we probably do need to have a season two. You all let us know if you all want a season
yes.
two.
Let us know.
Right? But as we close, I think that we've tackled some of those things, but maybe we can recap them, even though we've perhaps mentioned some of them. But I would love for our audience, for those of you who are listening, to leave this place hearing maybe some practical steps if you are feeling like, oh man, I didn't know how addicted I was to social media. So maybe what are some practical steps that we can create? And these are by no means in any order of, follow this steps one through whatever we come up with, but I think it'll be good if we think about some of the things that we have said, and just practical steps. I'll you know I'll start with maybe doing some sort of audit of how much you're using, or if you get the screen time audit that iPhone sends, the report, maybe just being okay to look at that with a critical eye and say, let me just look at it. Um, and yeah, accepting or knowing. I think that knowing is important. Um, what else comes to mind, Cameron?
Yes, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it realistic because
Yes,
my recovering mind, it tells me that sustainable change is small, small victories, small wins, specific
that's it.
wins. So I love what you said around the audit. I'm going to push our listeners and even continue to challenge myself, but start and end the day without the phone if you can. So no phone for the first or last 30 minutes of the day, or even 20 minutes of the day.
Yeah, and
Just,
start small, right? Like start five,
yes,
10. Those. Yeah, I love
yes,
it.
yes, even 5 minutes, but just get up, and that may even look like this. If you know that you are tempted to wake up in the middle of the night and scroll, maybe one day out the week you say, I'm going to charge my phone downstairs today.
Ooh.
So just challenge yourself to just be aware, to just be aware.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that maybe and speaking of challenge, maybe it goes back to boundaries. I think that what you're talking about is boundaries, right? Set the boundary of
Yes.
not starting the day with or ending the day with the phone. I guess that another boundary and challenge at the same time for us could be start setting limits
Yes.
for how much time you use the apps. And even if you feel like, oh, there is a particular app that I'm spending way too much time on, maybe saying, I am not going to use that app on Wednesdays, Mondays, or the evenings or whatever, right? Like, I think that just starting setting realistic limits. Don't
Yes.
go if you feel that you are too invested in it. I ain't doing a cold turkey, so
Yes.
just start with just some limits, right? And limits that are realistic. Thank you for bringing that up,
Yes,
Cameron.
yes, yes.
Realistic limits.
Yes, because the goal isn't perfection. It is awareness. And I think once you are aware, once we become aware, then we move from compulsion to choice, and then we choose differently. So it is a process. It's a journey. I love the word and what we've been speaking about as it relates to reorientation. I love that. And something that comes to mind for me as a practical step or strategy, I would say I'm a foodie, so I love to eat good food.
Oh yes, I didn't know that. The next time that we're
Yes,
together at any event, we gotta link up.
yes, yes. I love a good meal, but I would say a strategy has been a blessing to me is to really have to set a time at least once a week where I have a tech-free meal once a day. So maybe it's
Mm,
lunch, maybe it's breakfast, maybe it's dinner, but it's like I'm not scrolling and eating on the go. I just have a
yes,
tech-free meal where I'm just focused on the blessings of nourishment and all that it took for this to come to my table. And
love
not
that.
even so I don't know. I offer that as well. I offer that
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
and that's real. My husband and I, even before having our child, tried to start doing that because we saw that as a couple, sometimes we would be eating in our own home
Yes.
and scrolling. And so we have this boundary of no phones or no screens at the table. We don't have a TV. I grew up in a house that, including the kitchen, every single room of the house had a TV. Like my dad loves TV.
Okay.
Uh, and so part of our rule is like there is not a TV in our kitchen. So we don't watch TV while we're eating. And we're trying not to use our phones because we don't want our kids to grow with, oh, that's what we do to socialize, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's another step and boundary to create some sustainable limit. And man, I don't know if you all caught it, but you drop another nugget, Cameron. You said moving from compulsion to choice.
Yes.
And I think that that's what this is about. We could spend the rest of the hour and many more hours talking about this, but folks, this is really just about you. We are doing this with you in mind and with us
Yes.
in mind. It's not a blame game. It's a we're on this together. And
Yes. Yes. No,
so
it's a
we hope,
journey.
Yes, it's a journey and we're journeying together. And so uh just let's try to live with that. I'm living with that, Cameron. Thank you for that nugget. To live this place knowing that I'm gonna move from compulsion to choice. So as soon as I'm gonna reach for my phone next time, I'll be like, is this compulsion? Is this choice?
Yes, make the choice.
That's
Yes,
good. That's
yes,
good.
yes. Thank you so much. This has been a beautiful experience. This has been a beautiful time shared with your wisdom. And thank each and every one of you for joining us for this episode and for the first season of Holy Scrolls. We do hope that this conversation has sparked reflection on your own relationship with social media.
Yes, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you always. So if you ever done or are doing currently some sort of digital detox, share your thoughts, your experience with us. Tag us, share this video, leave something, drop a comment here, and connect with us in social media or via email if you're doing a detox after this.
Yes, yes. Until next time, next season, take care. And remember, balance and purpose are possible even in a screen-filled world. Be blessed.
Be blessed, everyone.